Lil Durk just dropped his album Deep Thoughts from inside the feds. But this ain't just about music. This is about a federal murder for hire case that's been building in silence. And now, everything is starting to surface. What most people don't know is, this case runs deeper than anyone expected. Big U's name has quietly entered the mix. And Bricc Baby, one of the most outspoken voices on the West Coast, is now being mentioned in the same breath as the indictment. Lil Durk's federal charges. Lil Durk, born Dirk Derek Banks, was indicted in 2024 on federal murder for hire charges tied to a 2022 Los Angeles shooting targeting Quando Rondo. After the ambush, Rondo's cousin, Lil Pab, was killed. Prosecutors allege Durk funded and planned the hit with 5 OTF affiliates: Kayvon London Grant, known as Vonnie; DeAndre Dontrell Wilson, known as DD; Asa Houston, known as Boogie, covering flights, rentals, and logistics. Evidence includes travel records, texts, surveillance, and cell data. He was arrested in Florida, extradited to California, and is being held without bail after pleading not guilty. Prosecutors also cited an uncharged 2022 Chicago case involving Stefan Mack to argue against bail, claiming a pattern of orchestrated violence. Durk's album, and the Fed case that overshadows it. Lil Durk's newest album is called Deep Thoughts, and it's quite ironic because he's probably in deep thoughts sitting behind bars on a federal RICO case. But while he was moving around the streets, clearly handling business, Durk was also working on his most vulnerable album yet. Deep Thoughts hasn't fully dropped, but some snippets have already leaked, and they sound like some of the best music Durk's ever made. I've listened to some of these snippets and they're fire. Lil Durk was in grind mode when making this album. He even said he's going back to the basics, wearing the same clothes for 5 days, if he has to in order to release this album. I wouldn't advise him to do that, but if that is what made the album good, then so be it.
That motherfucker, they just now, we're gonna get these boys up the mob, we already came with a plan to be like feature one, album time. You're gonna be at prayer, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do everything in the way that it's gonna be beat and be big. I ain't looking at nothing small no more. I'll wear this 5 days straight, we gonna pay. Dirt broke. Slap it. I sell all that shit, man. I have one car. It's not that I can't get it. It's, I don't give a f. I'm not thinking back. You can't buy 10 Maybachs, don't buy it.
In this album, Durk shows a lot of sides of his life. And if you look close enough, he actually talks about what is really going on. In Keep On Sippin', Durk opens up about addiction and emotional trauma. He says, "When my girl had broke my heart, it made me keep on sipping. Thinking about Bronum on that dead, I keep on sipping." Lil Durk and India Royale officially called it quits after 5 years together and 1 child. Rumors began when India tweeted about dining alone and followed up with cryptic messages like, "I'm a free agent." She later deleted all photos of Durk from her Instagram except one post with their child and unfollowed him. Durk responded on IG claiming she was his forever. But India clapped back with a cap emoji, making it clear they were done. Their on and off history was filled with cheating allegations, internet drama, and even a viral engagement. Fans were heartbroken, while others accused them of using the breakup for publicity. In They Want to Be You, Durk draws parallels between street loyalty and betrayal. "My family hurt me. They did me just like you. Just keep your mouth closed. There's something to lose." That bar hits differently when you realize it might be aimed at OTF Jam, who allegedly snitched to get out of the RICO case tied to Durk and several other OTF members. Reports claim Jam gave up key information, supposedly for something as small as a Big Mac, after being blessed by Durk with $50,000 and even a house. Despite being taken care of like family, Jam allegedly flipped the moment pressure hit. He's now being held in a separate facility, cooperating with the feds. Then there's Turn Up a Notch, where he raps, "Murder cases, I watch it from Zoom." Durk is currently facing federal murder for hire charges for allegedly organizing the 2022 Los Angeles hit that gunned down Quando Rondo's cousin, Lil Pab. The feds claim Durk paid for plane tickets, rental cars, and logistics, working alongside 5 OTF affiliates. Evidence includes surveillance footage, cell tower data, text messages, and travel records. He was arrested by U.S. Marshals in Florida, extradited to California, and is being held without bail, attending hearings via Zoom. Lil Durk has clearly been through a lot, surviving one of the biggest gang wars of all time in Chirac. They don't call him the voice for no reason. The voice of someone who knows the game's price, who's seen too many gunned down, too many lies, and too many fold. Bricc Baby's role in the situation. After Durk's arrest, Bricc Baby made multiple public comments online. He spoke on live streams and social media posts referencing details of the case. He appeared to confirm aspects of the conspiracy. Bricc Baby quoted Durk's earlier statements about not being able to slide for Von. This fueled speculation that Bricc Baby was confirming Durk's involvement in retaliation for King Von's death. Bricc Baby said, "You can't slide for Von now," which mirrored Durk's comments on DJ Academic's podcast. There was confusion over whether the comments were aimed at rapper FBG Cash or Quando Rondo. Eventually, Bricc Baby clarified he was referring to the killing of Lil Pop. He also stated that Durk should have used California hitters instead of flying people in from Chicago. Unlike with other public figures, Lil Durk's team did not respond to Bricc Baby's statements. In other cases, Durk's camp has publicly clashed with those accusing him or disrespecting OTF. No one from OTF confronted Bricc Baby online or in person about his comments. This silence led to speculation about the relationship between Durk and Bricc Baby. Bricc Baby's federal case. In early 2025, Bricc Baby was arrested as part of a federal investigation. He was tied to Operation Drawdown, a probe targeting members of the Rollins 60s gang. Bricc Baby was indicted separately from the main group. He is not listed as a primary defendant in the broader RICO case. However, authorities confirmed he has a separate indictment related to the same operation. He was arrested along with figures such as Loose Cannon and allegedly had ties to Big U. Charges against Bricc Baby include conspiracy, robbery, and aiding criminal activity. He was caught on a wiretap speaking with Big U, discussing a payment arrangement. The phone conversation was used as evidence to charge Bricc Baby separately. Big U trying to save Quando Rondo. In 2025, Big U was indicted under a federal RICO case that included charges of charges, extortion, robbery, and fraud involving nonprofit funds. The indictment originally named 20 individuals, but as of now, 13 have been removed from the case. The remaining defendants include Big U and 6 others. Some individuals were released due to lack of direct involvement, while others are believed to have cooperated with federal authorities. Big U publicly stated he didn't even know most of the people indicted alongside him. That video was allegedly reviewed by federal agents as part of the investigation. Big U is a known OG in California. Rappers like Lil Durk and Quando Rondo spend a lot of time in LA because that's where the industry is. Big U has ties to both sides and could have stepped in to help. There were early theories that Quando Rondo leaving the Crips was connected to all this. Some believe Big U was trying to protect him from Durk's OTF crew, but in reality, Big U never got involved. He publicly said Quando should have checked in when he came to LA, so the help was never actually offered. At the same time, there are serious allegations that Bricc Baby had a role in setting up Quando Rondo. And if that's true, it hits harder because both of them were rolling 60 Crips. That could explain why Quando ended up dropping his blue flag and stepping away from gang life completely. So while Big U is now facing serious federal charges, the timing and his past efforts to mediate the beef between Quando and Durk add another layer to why Quando might have made his recent moves. Lil Durk and Bricc Baby could be in the same facility. Both Lil Durk and Bricc Baby were once held in the same federal detention center in Los Angeles. Currently, it is unknown whether they are in the same prison. The shared facility speculation has fueled rumors of potential conflict or discussion between them. Federal prosecutors are using communication logs, flight records, and cell tower data. There are unconfirmed reports that one of the other co-defendants is cooperating with authorities. One rumored co-defendant, Jam, is said to be held separately and may be assisting in the prosecution. Durk's defense team is aware of this but has not made a public statement. There are court documents in Lil Durk's case that show how Durk allegedly got Quando Rondo's LA location. The info came from someone listed as co-conspirator 4. The name isn't confirmed, but a lot of people in the streets believe that it was Bricc Baby. This lines up with other claims that Bricc may have helped line up Quando, which could explain why Quando dropped his flag and started distancing himself from gang politics.
Quando Rondo's cousin, Lil Pop, got killed in LA. When you go through the paperwork, it says that the location where Quando Rondo and his crew were staying in LA was provided by co-conspirator 4. And right when it happened, a whole bunch of people started to say Bricc Baby is co-conspirator 4.
Bricc Baby might have accidentally given away one of the biggest underground stories in rap right now. Whether or not it gets confirmed by court docs or headlines, the people paying attention already know what it is. Durk's freedom, his silence, and the entire atmosphere around his name feel different now. Not because he said anything, but because someone else did. The first Durk, Big Durk. With all this noise around the OTF case and Bricc Baby, Lil Durk's family is not happy, specifically his father, Big Durk. Before Lil Durk ever touched a mic or claimed OTF, there was Big Durk, his father. He was a well-known figure in his day, respected in the Chirac and known for moving with the most notorious street legends like Larry Hoover. Let's just say the family is no stranger to federal cases. He was allegedly a major player in Chicago's underground trade and had a reputation for being heavily involved in high-level narcotics operations. In 1993, he was arrested by federal agents and later sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. According to reports and interviews, including what Big Durk has shared publicly, he was caught with a large quantity of work, around 13 kilograms, a serious federal offense. The case was prosecuted under strict federal drug laws that were especially harsh in the 90s, particularly during the so-called war on drugs era. Authorities viewed Big Durk as part of a larger conspiracy, and he was hit with conspiracy to distribute charges. Durk was just a baby when his father got locked up, meaning he grew up without his father present and was raised mostly by his mother and family on the south side of Chicago. Despite serving a life sentence, Big Durk was released decades later after changes in sentencing laws and advocacy, including clemency efforts under President Obama's administration that aimed to reduce overly harsh penalties for nonviolent drug offenses. Big Durk found Islam in prison. It wasn't a gimmick or jailhouse conversion for protection. Big Durk studied the religion seriously and made a commitment to change. He wanted his son to escape the same path that took away his own freedom. And when he finally came home after 25 years, he brought that message with him. When asked about Lil Durk's recent legal troubles in a 2024 interview, Big Durk was calm, but firm in his beliefs.
Alhamdulillah, we first like to thank everyone for their support, their love, the encouraging words that they gave us as a family. We thank the fans and everyone who stood by us. I leave all legal issues to the lawyers to break that thing, what's dealing with that, the legal issues behind it. As far as the family, as far as me as a father, one thing I can say that it's mighty strange that once he started doing good out there, once he stayed away from all the gangbanging and dissing the dead and doing things out there in the street, when he turned his life around, when he on his deen now, practicing religion, doing things for the community, bringing about peace in Chicago and throughout various cities, all of a sudden now he being indicted.
This was no ordinary frustration. This was a father who had watched his son transform, move away from gang affiliations, dead-op disses, and beef-fueled music, and toward a more mature image, embracing Islam publicly, organizing peace events, and investing in his community. The indictment felt like a targeted move to Big Durk, a shift in Lil Durk's lifestyle. Durk's earlier music reflected a harsh upbringing, guns, losses, betrayal. He spoke on it all. But around 2021, fans noticed a shift. Less dissing, more reflection, more maturity. He began making religious references. He performed at concerts wearing Islamic garments. And behind the scenes, he started praying, fasting during Ramadan, and surrounding himself with more peaceful influences. Big Durk had a hand in this change. After finally reconnecting with his son as a grown man, he didn't glorify the past. Instead, he urged Durk to embrace Islam fully and avoid the traps of street life, especially the trap of keeping up an image for fans. Durk was carrying the weight of his OTF label, making sure his homies were good and making sure everyone in the trenches was straight. He was the bag, the money flowing through the collective. So it was easier said than done for Lil Durk to simply just leave that life behind and go straight into following his father's footsteps. But you can tell he was trying. In early 2024, just days before his federal indictment, Lil Durk helped host a Muslim conference in Chicago to promote peace, end violence, and show unity among Black Muslims in the city. Big Durk was there. So were community leaders, imams, and even activists from rival blocks. Durk even put up a screen during his concert showing the names and faces of people lost to violence in Chicago, both friends and enemies. For Big Durk, it was clear. The system didn't want reformers. They wanted bodies. They wanted Durk in the streets so they could keep him in chains. But Durk had done the opposite, and still, they came for him. The system targets change. Why Durk's reform made him a threat. This wasn't just a story about a rapper getting caught up. According to Big Durk, this was about silencing someone who was becoming too powerful in a positive way. To the public, Durk's arrest seemed random. But according to Big Durk, who understands the politics of the streets, he thinks it was strategic. According to him, you can't let a gangster-turned-activist get too much influence, especially when he has millions of fans and growing power in political conversations. Big Durk didn't raise his son in the traditional sense. He was locked up when Durk was still a kid. Their bond wasn't formed over basketball games or school plays. It was built through letters, prison phone calls, and hard-won respect. And when he came home, Big Durk didn't pressure Durk with guilt. He tried to teach him the right way. He took his time, and he met Durk where he was at. He showed him how Islam had kept him sane while he was in the penitentiary. He talked about the discipline of prayer, the power of belief, the importance of avoiding arrogance and hatred. Over time, Durk listened. He brought more Islamic elements into his life. He publicly claimed one of Big Durk's most important lessons to his son was this: the streets will never love you back. You can take care of your homies, pay their bail, feed their families, but when things fall apart, you're the one that gets blamed. Or worse, they'll fold on you to save themselves. It's unclear how much of Durk's indictment stems from OTF's past activities, but one thing is clear. His attempts to break away from the cycle may have come too late. Durk's story and his father's have some similarities. This is because just like how OTF Jam is working with feds, someone close to Big Durk cooperated with the federal government, which ultimately led to Big Durk receiving a life sentence without parole. As a result, Lil Durk was raised without a father present in his life. This absence deeply impacted him, and he has openly blamed snitching for tearing his family apart.
I hate all rats. If you ever told, you ever tell, I hate you, like with a passion, like, cause that took away half of my. That made me who I am today. That took away half of my life. Like motherfucker telling on my pops and that's who, you know what I'm saying, I need it.
This makes a lot of sense why Lil Durk hates rats, now that I think of it. And whoever is snitching on Durk, he most definitely despises them. So it's clear to say someone like OTF Jam may not be safe. As Durk faces the most serious charges of his life, his foundation in Islam may be the only thing keeping him grounded. His father has been through this storm before. He knows how it ends if you don't cling to something bigger than the streets. The OTF Jam allegations. OTF Jam, a longtime member of Lil Durk's Only the Family, OTF Collective, has recently been at the center of serious allegations. Reports suggest that Jam cooperated with federal authorities, providing information that led to Lil Durk's arrest in connection with an alleged murder-for-hire plot targeting rapper Quando Rondo. Jam, who previously served a 12-year sentence for attempted murder, was released in 2022. Upon his release, Lil Durk reportedly supported him financially, offering $50,000 and assisting with legal fees and living arrangements. Despite this support, tensions allegedly arose within the OTF camp. Sources indicate that Jam harbored resentment towards Durk for maintaining ties with Boymo, another OTF member with who Jam had beef with. Additionally, the tragic murder of Jam's child's mother while he was incarcerated reportedly deepened these tensions. In response to the snitching allegations, Jam took to social media saying he wasn't a liar. He also said, "I'ma let the paperwork come out because it's gone, tell it all." He further suggested that if Durk didn't want to be implicated, he should have avoided the crime scene. But things only got worse for OTF Jam when this happened. OTF Jam, Big Mac from the feds. Whispers about Jam cooperating with the feds started circulating online. Fans and street insiders began connecting the dots when Jam suddenly went silent. Then came the viral footage. Jam in an interrogation room, allegedly snacking on McDonald's while glancing at the security camera. The clip exploded after DJ Academics reposted it, with memes flying in. He told for a Big Mac and fries. Bro snitched for a Kai Sinat meal, and OTF means only telling fast now. According to a report from Hot 97, Jam allegedly gave up key details on a murder-for-hire plot tied to Lil Durk. Authorities say Jam may have been wired during parts of the investigation. The Broward County Sheriff's Office later confirmed that Durk was arrested in South Florida. The same system that took Big Durk away decades ago was now back for his son. Click one of the boxes on the right or the left to watch a video similar to this one.